Are you coming back to school with me? We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson-Wood. I'm your host on Teaching with Board Games, here today to talk to you about Hive by Gen42 Games. So looking at the report card for Hive, I'm going to give the number of players a C because it only plays 2 players, no more, no less. It's a 2-player game, there's no solo mode, I guess you could play solo if you really want to play against yourself in both directions just to try it out. I mean, people have done it with chess, right? But it's a 2-player game, so C. In learning for Hive, I'm going to give the game a C. Again, there's no reading in the game. It's just all tiles with symbols on them, and they move in particular ways. A little bit of geometry is just sort of seeing the shapes and the things, the spatial sense of what can go where. But overall, it's very, not a lot there. So, definitely some critical thinking, definitely problem solving. Those are very strong elements in this, which I'll talk about more later. But overall, not a lot of strong learning in the game. So, C. For fun, I'm going to give the game an A. First time I played this game, I instantly fell in love with it. I played it many times and I'm a really big fan of this game. There's just so many different possibilities and things that happen in the game, so many ways to think of things and to try to outwit and outmatch your opponent. It's just a really, really clever game that I enjoy very much, so solid A for me. For time, I'm going to give the game an A. The games are very quick. They should be, anywhere between really 10 to 20 minutes. Shouldn't be more than that. Maybe because I'm not that great at the game, my games are faster. Maybe if a couple of masters played each other, it would be a quicker game, a longer game rather. But to my experience, it's a very quick game. Can be done with easily in 20 minutes, and the setup and cleanup is negligible. For cost, I'm going to give the game a B. The game is running at $37, somewhere around there at Level Up, but you can get a pocket version of this game, which is smaller, easier to tell. I mean, this one already, this is the big version. You can see it's not that big, so this is quite easy to transport if you want to take it with you places. But there is an even smaller one called the Hive Pocket. So one thing I like to also consider when you look at things like with cost is the durability of the pieces. Sometimes you get things with cards and tokens which can easily be lost. I mean, these are big pieces, and they're that same bakelite material that comes in the game like bananagrams. These things are almost indestructible. I mean, you can't break them, scratch them. They're not going to be damaged by small children. They are really, really durable pieces, and feel really nice in the hands too as you move them around. But so that's the game. Once you own it, as long as you don't lose the pieces, it's going to last you forever. So that's a factor, I think, with the cost as well. So B. So now, a quick word about this game. Why I'm including on the channel if the number of players and the learning is so weak with it. Well, for one, the number of players being 2 means that you could easily include this game as something that you have in your classroom for a quick, like an indoor recess or something. This is a great game to have for those purposes. There's also the consideration of, if you are the kind of person who thinks that chess is a great game to be teaching kids for all the educational benefits it has in terms of the critical thinking, problem solving, forward, thinking ahead, visualizing future turns and stuff. Well, this game is very much, whereas I'm not a big fan of chess myself, probably because I'm not very good at it, I like this game, even though I'm not very good at it. There's different ways to play this game, and not different ways to play it, but there's different ways to win at this game. There's different strategies you can employ, different openings, different middle games. Just like in chess, you have your beginning game, middle game, and then securing the win. Same sort of things in Hive. It's a very strategic game. There's no luck involved. There's no dice involved. It's pure strategy. So whoever wins is really the better player. So that's what I like about this game. And so if you are a person who thinks that chess is great for kids, then I would highly, highly recommend you check out Hive. So without any further ado, let me take this to the table and show you how it's played. So in the game of Hive, both players have the same pieces. They have 2 beetles, they have 3 ants, they have their queen bee, they have 3 grasshoppers and 2 spiders. And just like in chess, each of these pieces is going to move in a different way. What's going to happen is the players are going to put those all to one side, and they're going to choose which pieces they want to start with. So white starting, white may choose to put down, say, a spider. And then green says, sorry, black says, I'm going to put down an ant. Now the two pieces have to touch, and once they've touched, you start to form the hive. The hive can never be broken into more than one piece. So now the next player goes, and maybe they choose to put down their queen bee. Now the queen bee, whenever you put a piece down, it has to be touching only that. So it could not go here because it's touching black at the same time as white. So it can only go here. And then maybe this player is going to go here. And now this player might put down an ant like so. Now this player, now that it's their third piece, they must put down their queen bee. So then they're going to say maybe put their queen bee down here. Now the whole thing here now, the whole point of the game is to try to surround the other player's queen bee. Now in this case, this queen bee has two white pieces here, which is its own color, but still, if it's surrounded, if all sides of the bee are covered, whether by their own pieces or the enemy pieces, it doesn't matter. That is the game end. That is how you win this game. So you have to watch for those things where the thing starts to get surrounded. The queen bee can only, now as I talked about movements, let me show you some of the movements now. So the queen bee can only move one space at a time. So move, move, move. The spider can only move 3 spaces left or right. Now in this case it couldn't move left because it can't push through this space here, but it could go 1, 2, 3. Although it can't, because now I have broken the hive, which is what I talked about. That's the one cardinal rule of the games. You cannot break the hive. Ants have the ability to move anywhere they want around the hive, as long as they can slip into places like so. Now this ant can go here, even though it's touching 2 black pieces, because it wasn't spawned there. When you're bringing the piece onto the board, it can't touch any of the opposing color, but it can go there. Beetles can move 1 space, so they can move anywhere, left or right, as they choose. But beetles also have a special ability that they can climb on top of the hive, so they can go on top of the hive like so. Now when they're on top of the hive, whatever's underneath them can't move. So this ant couldn't move, even if the queen bee wasn't here. This ant can no longer move because the beetle's on top of it. So this, now move here, this spider is now, not only can the spider not move, barring, of course, the fact that it would be breaking the hive if it did, but it can't because the beetle's on top of it. But now what's also important to note is because the beetle's on top of this piece, this now counts as a black space. So next turn the black player may choose to put something down here, and they could because it is touching 2 black spaces. The white underneath does not count because it's covered by the beetle. So that's a special power that the beetle has. Grasshoppers can travel in a straight line. So any distance across any number of tiles, as long as it's in a perfectly straight line, and it can be diagonal like so. Nice thing about a move like this is this would allow then the grasshopper to stay there. It would now pin this bee in place. It couldn't move anymore because if it did so, it would break the hive. So on any player's turn, they have a choice. Again, you can put down a queen bee at any time you want during the setup, as long as it's one of the first 3 pieces. Once you put the queen bee down, then you can move your other pieces. But until the queen bee is down, you cannot. So on your turn, you have a choice. You either move a piece or place a piece, and that's all you can do. So if, say we go back to the white player now, maybe I would choose to put that one down there. Now the black player may be sensing the play here by the white player, may choose to move that one out of the way. And so then the white player is going to put down a beetle here. And then the black player will put, now realizing that their beetle is stuck, they're going to put down an ant. Now I'll put down a grasshopper here. And then the white player is going to do it anyway. They're going to jump across. And then the black player will come up. The white player will put down an ant here. Go here. And then the white player will come here and pin that white down there. And then the black player comes in here. So the queen bee is pinned here, but now what could happen at this point is this white beetle could come on top like that. So while the queen bee is still stuck in that spot, what it means now is this space is now white again, so it's not, you can't treat this as a black tile anymore. Because if this was a black tile, then what the black player could do next turn is they could just spawn something here because it is only touching a black tile. And the game continues until such point that the player is able to surround the queen bee completely, at which point they declare their victory. And that is how you play Hive. And before I get into my final thoughts, I would like to just mention one thing quickly, is that in Hive you do have some expansions where you can get the mosquito, the pill bug, and the ladybug. So each of these has different abilities. I'm really quite fond of. My favorite is the mosquito. The mosquito will copy the ability of anything that it is touching at the start of its turn. So if it's touching a beetle, it can act like a beetle. If it's touching a grasshopper, it can act like a grasshopper. It really makes those moments where you can be really sneaky and clever about what you're doing with this thing. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of Hive. If you have any questions about this game or any of the suggestions for games you might like to see on the channel, please leave me a message in the comments section below. I do love to hear from the viewers. If you're new to the channel, then what I'm doing is I'm a teacher of 20 years experience now, 20 years plus, with the Peel District School Board, and I'm always looking for different ways to involve games and gamification, game-based learning in my practice, and to share what I've learned with you, the viewer. So whether you're a teacher or a person who has young children at home or just interested in your own personal education, then this is the channel for you. Please remember to hit like and subscribe down below and the little bell icon so that way you can be notified when I do put out new videos, which I'm doing on a weekly basis. Until next time, Craig Thompson Wood, your host with Teaching with Board Games, saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school with me?